You are listening to One Love Radio.
Actually,
you are listening to One Love Radio.
One love.
Desejar e por maneira de ser que é irresistível. Oh baby, o fara tá excitando do meu corpo. O sensualidade tá bom sentir um homem realizado. Cria para não ficar amigo, uma capora irresistível.
hello everyone, thank you for joining.
Que me parecer filho de sonho que tudo mudava. Queria ser bonito.
Start very soon.
Mas descobri
What's up, Joao? Good to see you.
divino sagrada.
Fatet,
Ser humano
Papi Morali, Janet, how you doing? If you haven't already shared the stream, please share the stream now, please. I'm very grateful. We've got a lot of stuff to pack into the next 2 hours. Get your popcorn, lace up your bootstraps. It's gonna be an interesting show. Hello, Liv. Hello, Natalia.
Realizava uma boiada diferente. O que boi será? O corpo na minha corpo é. O que o desloca o corpo. Pra perceber por fim de sonho é tudo mudar. Oh baby, já vou saber, mas bom irresistível. Boa beleza de minhas olhos, paraíso de minha alma, já vou saber, mas boa irresistível. Serva o melhor amigo, que bom descobrir magia, bom ser humano inventado, paixão irresistível. Uou, por tudo como me deseja.
Hello, Quinton. How are you? I don't see you on here very often. Hello to Eudora. Kicking off very, very soon.
Maneira de ser que tá descobrindo magia do amor. Amor é um sussurro, amor é um fofa, e o segredo é incrível. Sim, amor é um paraíso. Deus, um sorriso que dá a descobrir magia do amor e valor de beleza. Doçura, amor fofa, os olhos que tá brilhando. Paixão irresistível e o segredo é incrível.
Okay, we're just going to play one more track. Just need to make sure that all of the right people are in the right place and on the ball with us. So we're going to play one more song and we'll get things started.
Un paso me voy para siempre, un paso fuerte, un paso hacia adelante. Dos pasos me voy sin mirarte, tan lejos pise, 2 pasos y ya te olvidé. 3 pasos ya son hacia el este, el sur, el oeste. 3 pasos creo mucho me parece.
¿Y cuando volverás?
Je ne reviendrai pas.
¿Cuándo volverás?
Je suis si loin déjà.
¿Cuándo volverás? Un día o jamás. ¿Y cuando volverás?
J'ai fait le premier
¿Cuándo
pas.
volverás?
Et tout ne m'attend
¿Cuándo
pas.
volverás? Un día o jamás.
4 pasos quiero acordarme. 4 pasos ya sé. Tú me quisiste, yo te quise. 5 pasos ya sin perderme, tanto me alejé. 5 pasos y te perdoné. 6 pasos ya son casi 100.
Okay, time is pushing on, and we got quite an interesting amount of people already connected and logged in. So I think it's time to get things moving. This is the part of the show where I do the introduction. So first of all, I need to say hello to everybody, wherever you are in the world, whatever you've been doing. Thank you for tuning in to another One Love Radio Kizomba lockdown live streaming session. Okay, so it's all about staying safe, all about staying well, and keeping the vibes alive. But lately Kizomba has come under an extreme amount of pressure over the last few months. First and foremostly because of the lockdown due to the COVID-19. No dancing for over 3 months now. No sight of when we can actually start dancing again in the near future. Well, not officially or legally at least. But we're all doing the best we can to keep the vibes alive with all the online events happening, the online classes, live DJ mixes, etc. So well done to everybody for keeping that going. Let's keep it up. But then on top of that, on top of the issues with the lockdown, we're now faced with something even more shocking and probably just as impactful, which is the shocking news of the alleged sexual assault. I can't actually believe I'm saying this live on the air. The fact that it's, you know, I've been through this many times, but actually saying it out loud even makes it sound even that more and feel that more real that this is happening. But yeah, shocking news of alleged sexual assault, sexual indecency, and even rape has been brought to our attention on social media. In response to this, that was closely followed by some naming and shaming of individuals that were allegedly involved, and the way that was handled didn't quite help the situation either. And as much as I disagree with how the naming and shaming was handled, I think the people who were involved in that part of it would agree that it wasn't approached in the correct way, and would agree that they would have handled it differently if they had to do it again in the future, or if they had to do anything in the future, it would be handled much differently. But what I want to say on this show is the focus is purely to be on the issue of how we're going to address this in the Kizomba scene. We don't want to talk specifically about any people specifically. We don't want to mention any names. We just want to focus on how we're going to fix this, or how we're going to improve this, or how we can try to improve this in the Kizomba scene. So for that reason, we're not mentioning any of the details of any of the things that have been happening or alleged to have been happening. This is not a courtroom. We're not going to be trialing anyone on this show. We're just talking about how we can fix this. All right. Some of you may also be asking by now, what qualifies me to be leading this discussion? Because I haven't been involved in Kizomba for a very long time. Well, the reason I feel like I'm qualified to talk about this is because, firstly, this is a social issue. Okay, this is not purely a Kizomba issue. It's a general social issue, and can be found in all walks of life, all dance styles, including salsa and bachata and the like. So you don't have to be a Kizomba guru. Okay. Secondly, I've been around a lot longer than most of you. Okay. I might not look it, but I've been around and experienced a lot of things over a long amount of time, a lot of years. I'm not going to say how many years, but those of you who know me will know how many years. So, and because of that, not necessarily because of that, but as well as that, I've had, you know, a lot of experience in this particular issue, first-hand experience. Okay. I've been a first-hand witness to both violent and sexual abuse to women since I've been a child, a very young child, since the age of 3 or 4, growing up in this country. Okay. And I can remember very clearly those events and how that made me feel. And there are things that I've seen recently that reminds me of those feelings. And this is the reason why this is something that's very, very close to my heart. And why, again, why I think that I am qualified to discuss this. But obviously, I'm not alone in this. Joining me on this show will be 12 very well-known and accomplished promoters and teachers who've agreed to join me on here to respond to 4 specific questions. And the reason why there are 4 specific questions is because these are a group of very intelligent, articulate people who have a lot to say, but there's no way we can, you know, just have an open discussion very easily with so many people in the space of 2 hours. So we're going to try and keep it all controlled, and we're going to respond to the 4 specific questions, which I'll share with you soon. But right now, I'm just going to let you know who the speakers will be. First of all, we're going to come on in sections. So first of all, we're going to have Iris de Brito alongside Richard Voot and Tanya Mendonka. Apologies, Tanya, if I've pronounced your surname wrong. I probably have. I'm just guessing that I have because I usually do. Then after that, we're going to have Jiao and Giedre alongside Wilson Soares and Eudora Okoro-Andrew. And then Adriana Neves, Riquita, and Angel Nkiru. And also Super Dixon, Shaq Ajuwa, and Saeed Ali. And lastly, that's if they make it on time. So this is not a given, but Robert and Jean are going to try to catch up with us towards the end of the show. And then we're going to have a wrap up, and hopefully if we have enough time, we'll be able to play a bit more music. Okay. So before I bring on the guests, and I'm going to just talk about just a few quick short house rules. And this is mainly all around respect. Okay. So everyone in the comments and everyone coming and actually talking on the show, please show 100% respect to everybody at all times. Even if you don't like what someone's said, please, no disrespect to anyone on this show. All right. No foul language, no mentioning of any specific names of anyone alleged to do anything wrong. This is not a courtroom. This is a workshop to try and fix the solution. Okay. And now on to the 4 questions. The 4 questions that the speakers will be responding to are as follows. Firstly, what are the men doing wrong? Then, what are the women doing wrong? The next one is, what can the teachers and the promoters do different? And then finally, what is the vision for the future? Okay, so I'm going to have a quick stab at these questions myself. Then I'll bring on the first group of speakers. All right. So the first one is, where are the men going wrong? In my opinion, I believe that where the men are going wrong is there's a lack of emotional intelligence when we view the women in a club scene, whether it's Kizomba or anywhere else, and when we interact, they may just look as if they may just be trying to be friendly, but we may get the wrong idea out of just innocent, friendly intentions. And because they've looked at us and made eye contact at us with a friendly smile, to many of us, we will take it the right way, and we understand that's just a friendly person. But there are a lot of people that get the wrong idea. And that's just an example of how you can get the wrong idea. Another example of how you get the wrong idea is the dance experience you've had with that person. That person may have given you the best dance in your entire life. And because of that, you're sure she wants to go to bed with you. And then you try to pursue that. And obviously, that's another, thing you can get wrong. The lack of emotional intelligence, but also the lack of respect. There is a serious lack of respect to women in society in general, which is why we also see it in Kizomba. But it shows when people just walk around grabbing girls without even looking at them and expecting them to dance with you anyhow you want. I think that that's something that definitely needs to be addressed. But how can we reach the people that really need to be told this message? That's a tricky one, which moves us on to the second question, which is, where are women going wrong? I think that in some cases, women could be going wrong by not being selective enough, by being a bit more careful and a bit more wary of the dangers. So it's a shame that we have to make this statement, but really it's the men that should be addressing that issue. It's the men that should be tidying up their act and respecting women. But in reality, that's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to happen even in a lifetime. There will always be perpetrators out there that will take opportunities whenever they see them. And whilst that's the case, women have to be more selective, need to be more careful, and understand the culture. And when I say understand the culture, observe the way African women are interacting with African men. The dance is from Africa, from West Africa. And I from the experience that I've seen, the interaction between Western women and African men is nothing like the interaction between African women and African men. And that's why I think that it really helps to have more African female dance teachers to look towards as an examples of how that should be done. It's a difficult one, and I know a lot of you will be disagreeing with me on that one, but that's how I feel about it. Later, we're going to hear how everyone else, all the other Kizomba leaders feel about that one as well. What can teachers and promoters do different? Make people more aware of the culture, make people more aware of what people are, the kind of expectations people can get, and just hammer that home. And I think a lot of teachers do mention it, but I think it probably needs to be more underlined, and we need a bit more detail going into that. Okay, I'm a bit over time now. Vision for the future. Very quickly on this one, vision for the future is more Kizomba on the dance floor and less lovemaking. I think that's pretty much just to wrap it up from my side. I think it's probably the fact that there's so much coming together. You can hardly draw a line between the male and female. It's as if people are coming so close together. It's like one body. I've been guilty of that myself. I'm no different from anyone else. I just don't think it's healthy for the longevity of Kizomba, at least here in Europe. Okay, so not too sure how we're doing with all the comments and stuff, but I have 3 guests lined up to come and relay their thoughts on those questions along with me. Welcome to Iris de Brito, Tanya Mendonka, and Richard Voot. Whoa, that's the wrong one.
How you doing?
Supposed to be giving you a round of applause.
Nice.
There you go.
Great.
Round of applause. Round of applause. How you doing,
Cool.
guys?
We're good, thanks.
Great.
Yeah.
Good,
Happy
good,
to be
good.
part of this great discussion. Yeah.
Richard, I can't. All right,
Can
all right,
you-
good, good. I can hear you now, Rich. Yeah, good stuff. Okay, let's push things on very quickly. So we'll start with Iris on the first question. Let me just put the ticker up so people can see the questions below. Right. So Iris, the first one for you. Where do we think the men are going wrong?
Where are the men going wrong? Okay, I heard what you're saying, and I think I really don't like to say that the men are going wrong or women are going wrong. I see that your comment was very much towards the fact that probably there's more cases about men than women. I, as a promoter and teacher, I've seen quite a balance in the sense of how actually women behave in this social dance community and how men behave in this social dance community, and is pretty similar. Where are men going wrong or where are women going wrong, I feel, is where they're going into a social dance scene that they probably consider let's say it, they consider it cheap. Normally you go into a dance scene of kizomba and you pay £5 or whatever it is. If you go anywhere out in London, you have to get your money out. You have to get a lot of money out actually before you are even inside the place where you can speak to someone that you don't know or try to chat up somebody you don't know. So starts there in that sense. So they don't value it. They don't value the space where they are coming in the same manner that they value other spaces. So in that beginning starts there, and then that starts again when continues again where they don't value what's being taught, be it salsa, bachata, or kizomba, in the same way or manner, especially when it's only taught in a club scene rather than in a studio or something that they would value there. If you go to a yoga class or even a dance class, but if you go to a studio, if somebody says, "Oh, you got to pay £12 or whatever it is," people are like, "Oh, okay, that's the price," kind of thing. If you try to charge, 12 or 15 pounds to a kizomba class or whatever, they'll be like, "What? I'm not paying that," or whatever. So the value of it is already different. So what I find is that a lot of the men and the women come to these spaces, I think, with different intentions. A lot of people just come because they want to have fun. Over the years that I've been in salsa, there's people that come off relationships, and they want to meet different sorts of people. They want to try something new. So they want to socialize and meet different people. But I don't think they truly understand that if they are ready to meet different cultures, they need to also put an effort in to understand the different cultures they are going to get into the space with. So, and this is for me where it starts going wrong, because from a European perspective, they start approaching the dance scene, the social dance community of salsa, bachata, and kizomba through an European perspective only, without really trying to understand or really try to discover, how does this work? What are, is it all right to approach a guy and ask him to dance? Is it okay? Is it all right to just hug him like, straight away? Is it not? And they don't ask questions either. So this is kind of, and this is men and women, not just men or just women. So because they approach it from this perspective, and because there's so many also dance practitioners, teachers, promoters that don't really care to ensure that these dances are taught and promoted as they should be, in the sense of where they are from, and with all that goes with it, then what happens? These dances are exported, but the values of these dance forms are not, they don't go with it. You know, they don't go alongside, so they're not aligned.
Yeah.
So you start practicing something and thinking, yeah, Kizomba is just, you know, he's just rubbing, rub-a-dub, you know, just get close or whatever. That's all it is. And then you start approaching things differently. And you are completely right. Where, for example, in London, it's absolutely fine to have a woman asking a guy to dance Kizomba. In our culture, and Tanya can say, knows that, you know, we grew up in that way. It's not really that doesn't really happen like that doesn't really happen that way so easily, where a woman come out and go to another group of people that she doesn't know, or another guy that she doesn't know, and asks him to dance, and it's like it's all right. You know, it's not only viewed badly by that group of people, but by the group of people that the girl came with. So you may say, oh, it's very conservative, it's old-fashioned, this and that and the other. Yeah, maybe there are some values there, they're not the same, but there's a reason why that happens, you know, because you have your people around you, they're going to check out for you, they're going to protect you in a sense, they're going to, you know, they're going to see how the person is behaving. You know what I'm saying? So this is where, for me, the men and the women are going wrong, is because they are approaching the social dance scene of these dancers which are not European dancers, and they are approaching it with a very, how do you say, a very arrogant approach sometimes. I'm not saying that people are arrogant. I'm saying the way they approach it sometimes, it's very entitled. Like that. Oh, I'm used to asking guys for dancing, so that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not saying that's not fine.
With fire. Kind of playing with fire.
But you need to, you know, if you enjoy being in a space where there's all these beautiful different cultures, international, everybody from everywhere in the world, great. But then you also need to understand that all these people also come with their own behaviors, their own culture, and their own ways. This is not to say it doesn't justify bad behavior. I'm just saying this creates an atmosphere where, you know, the missed messages and all these problems can start to arise.
The respect levels go down, and once the respect levels are down, it's, you know, it's just open season for all kinds of other things. Iris, I need to stop you there because the time is just flying at the moment. Let's move on to Tanya. Hello, Tanya.
Hi, everyone. I echo what Iris just said. I just want to clarify, like the rape culture and the sexual harassment, it happens in every field in life, in every industry. So let's not make use of about Kizomba. Iris made a video very clear on, you know, in a state which I would, you know, I very much like to just clarify this. Let's not make use about a Kizomba thing. However, we also all know that the rape culture or the sexual harassment culture, it's predominant, or it actually happens more often in male dominating high hierarchy and leaderships, right? I think what the men went wrong, I mean, apart from what Iris just have said, is when the leaders, being the males, have allowed our culture to be perpetuated in a way, highly sexualized way, where they didn't bring those values that Iris have just mentioned to that came across, that come side to side with the Kizomba. So I say we because I'm one of them, you know. However, as you know, unfortunately, this is a very male-dominating industry, and women don't have much of a say, even though in certain countries like UK, women are respected. We tend to have a little bit more of a say in and as you can see, you have many ladies here. Here is me, Riquita, Adriana, and so on, because we all are respected as such. However, it is what it is. So when we allow our culture to be spread in a highly, especially, you know, I'm going to refer a little bit more to festivals, even though the classes are also very much like that. If you think about it, we put Kizomba, which is supposed to be a cultural event that comes with the rules and some, you know, ethics, if you wish, or, to be promoted, I guess, a little bit adopted from the salsa scene, in a hotel where you have 3-day events where you're going to be dancing Kizomba and Tarashinga and I guess Semba and whatever else that comes with it, in a hotel with rooms on site, right? where people are going, are going to be probably dancing almost 24/7 to very slow-paced music. And also, this became a culture that somehow it became a culture where women had to present themselves in a very vulnerable way, in a very friendly way, in a very they had to present themselves in a very fun, light, and highly submissive, which it does not reflect at all in the way we dance, at all in the way that we present ourselves, at all. That does not represent Kizomba. It does not represent African women at all. And by allowing that, we allowed bad behavior. Okay, and I think what men went wrong, if I wanted to summarize, is by normalizing bad behavior and by not calling out on each other's bad behavior. And that is men and women, but by allowing that, in normalizing. So we got used to see these things happening and not call each other out for letting it happen. So I would say that's what I would say that the men went wrong. It's right. By us, the leaders, or the PALOP leaders who has started to develop the Kizomba scene in Europe, allowing our culture to be modified, watered down, by allowing the female in actually just by the name leader and follower. It's wrong. In Angola, we usually say cavalheiro and cavalheira, which is the gentleman and the lady. That's how we never say leader and follower. Just by saying that, he also already gives a power. Then we have a scene where the men pay less, women outnumber the men, and they still have to be the submissive. They are taught to be just the followers, and everything else that comes with that. I don't want to take much of your time, but that's basically what I think about what men and we went wrong.
Okay. Very interesting points from both of you. And finally, Richard, just take you off mute, Richard, because we had a bit of feedback. Okay, good. Off you go.
Yes, can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that Tanya and Iris, expressed things very eloquently there. Obviously everyone here, on the talk show with yourself, is obviously very, involved in the community, and I think first and foremost, I wanted to say that I wanted to recognize the women that came out, and gave their first-hand accounts of sexual assault, because I think that took huge courage for them to do that. I think the reality is that probably in writing those statements, they had to relive that trauma they went through. And in reality, what they've done is they've spoken out to make our community safer. They've drawn attention to these issues very starkly, and it's allowing us as a community to reflect on ourselves and to have these difficult and constructive conversations, and try to think about how we can create real mechanisms and be honest with how we're going to prevent these things from happening. I think what both Iris and Tanya spoke about is that and you as well, Mitch, in broader society, this is a massive issue. And I think that at the heart of it is the issue around consent and the lack of respect for consent, and a misunderstanding of what consent is and when no is no. We obviously talk a lot about that. I think for me, what I've felt is that what we should learn from this is that, one, it teaches us the specific incident that is relating to these conversations happening now, is that people who look to take advantage and abuse others are not always this cliche, shady figure, lurking in the corner of the room kind of thing that we usually would think about. It can be people that are our friends. It can be people in plain sight. And unfortunately, as we see in others, in society as a whole, it can be people that hold a lot of status and a lot of respect and often are advocates for the things that they are actually perpetrating. So I think as a community, we need to recognize that, yes, we have a friendly society, a friendly community, and it's inclusive, etc., but it's not separate from these ills of broader society, and it can't be blamed on the dance and all these kinds of things that can be suggested. For me, I think I've tried to have a lot of conversations and there's a lot of reflection about that, but personally, I think if we really want to think about how we're going to deal with this, I think Iris and Tanya made a lot of good points about in reference to the culture, and I'll mention something about that. But personally, the first step we need to take, we need to break the silence. What those women did is break the silence. And we know that there is a huge stigma around reporting. reporting bad behavior on the dance floor, what people will consider minor transgressions. These things lead to a culture of behavior, as both the ladies alluded to. And I think often what happens, there is a stigma around reporting, and people feeling isolated, ostracized, etc. If we're going to tackle that, we're going to have to think about what different kind of mechanisms are we going to put in place that allows people to want to come forward. So in that case, we need to think, okay, can we, for example, as a community, the things that I've thought of is having people in safeguarding positions at events, but people who are safeguarding, but that are not in positions of power or status. People that are well-trained or versed, particularly, let's say, at larger events like festivals. This is very applicable. Out to, right? The other thing is that it's clear that, most dance schools or people involved in the scene actively try to deal with these things. But do we publicly make available what are our procedures and processes? What are the codes of conducts that we hold dear to us and that we expect of everyone? So I think if the public and participants need confidence and trust if they're going to come forward and share something that puts them in a vulnerable position. All right. So if we make these procedures and things more public, people will know, oh, if I report something, this is how it will be handled, And also, I think in doing that, everyone here, I'm sure, will want participants and people in our dance community to know that, we have a duty of care for them, morally and legally, above just, wanting a great community and being leaders of the community. Even generally in society, when there's a financial transaction, there is laws that stipulate how, people are respected and handled in those situations. So we want people to understand that the ones leading these things, we have a responsibility for these things. So in terms of, I think that definitely with the reporting, I think something we should really consider is a mechanism for anonymous reporting, because often small transgressions happen and then someone will say, oh, well, maybe it was just this one time. And then we lose the ability to see pattern of behavior, So I think if there was an opportunity for that, organizers could then reach out to other organizers or teachers to other teachers. Have you seen this? Have you noticed this in a confidential manner, Before I come to the men and women, one last thing would be that it might be a starting point to consider that we mandate and we try to create an SPK sort of safer spaces initiative that people like at festivals especially and dance schools can sign up to and say, this is our public, code of conduct towards harassment and bullying. And, this is what we all agree to have in place. And people can then become to expect that,
Okay.
Just lastly,
we're running out of time, Rich.
Quick one. I think just echoing what the lady said, we need to model the behavior that we want. I do think men need to speak out a lot more clearly about these topics to know that, so that women know that we support them. I think that also we need to be more objective when receiving feedback about what people are comfortable with on the dance floor. We need to be more objective about that by respecting that. And then we want women and men to know that when they report, people are here to support them. So I think those are the key things.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Iris, Tanya, and Richard. There was one point that we didn't address specifically, which was what is the vision. But I think in your explanations, you got the grasp of what that vision was. Okay. So are you happy, Iris? You're waving there, but you're on. You happy there? No, hang on a second. Was you saying something there, Iris?
Thank you. I know you wanna get rid of us because there's other people that come to say also their piece. But in terms of the practical things, I think Richard is on it. All the practical stuff, it's got to be said, a lot of us have already been doing that over the years. So it's not something new. But in terms of vision for the future and what to do, I'm sorry, but I've got to emphasize the fact that, these dances, salsa, bachata, kizomba, these are dances that have African dance roots. And I think it's about time that teachers, even if you're in China, whatever you are, you need to try to embody what it is that means. And once you embody what it is that means, you will also understand all the subtleties that go along with it. And you start respecting culture a lot more, rather than then approaching a dance class or whatever it is that you're going to approach from the usual European, Eurocentric point of view, which creates a lot of confusion. And this is what I really want to say, that I've done that all through when I did Kizomba. I taught dance ethics in my class, and I managed to do that within 1 hour of class. So I know everybody else can do the same. I'm going to pass it over to Tanya because I know she wants to say something too.
Yeah.
I just want to wrap up quickly about, and thank you, Louise, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's really important that you start really do your homework in what teachers you choose. As long as we carry on perpetuating women as objects and devaluing their role in the dance scene and see them as just a submissive follower, and we keep on perpetuating these videos of bundas and jinga who has like just the cameras on ladies, which only what it does is it devalues the woman. We're going to carry on having a problem. So it's really important that we start doing that. Many of us teachers do know how to teach to be active leader followers. You can be a follower, but you need to be an active follower. And it's also important that festivals start putting women in leadership a little bit more, because it becomes about being gender equality. And once you start having a bit more of ladies on the leading positions and ladies who know how to validate themselves, who don't need a man to validate how good they are on the dance floor. You see what I mean? Because that's what happens,
Yeah, they create respect.
Yeah.
When you see equality, you get respect.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you represent yourself, it's literally how you carry yourself in the dance floor. But that takes a good teacher and a good leader to do that. It's important as well that the promoters, start putting rules. Yes, Richard, just like Iris said, there is a lot of promoters already having code of conduct on their contracts on their festivals. But a lot of us don't read them. Let's just be honest about it. So it's important. It's important that we start putting consequences. They need to know they will have legal action and they will not get paid.
Right.
And
we've done that. We've told our artists many times they would not get paid if we knew something
happened. As long
happened.
as you know that, we all be good. All right,
We're gonna be putting a lot of this information together and put it somewhere where it can be seen and viewed once we all collectively agreed on the content. So this is not just us blowing hot air. Hopefully we're going to get something out of this that we can start putting into practice in the future.
Well,
thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Tanya, Richard. See you soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Nice to see you.
Bye.
Right. Thank you. So our next guest, we've already blown the time schedule. But anyway, we'll push on very quickly. So the next guest we have is Jiao and Giedre. Wilson, is Wilson here yet? Wilson's not here. Hi, Jiao. How Giedre? How you doing?
Hello. Pretty good.
Hi. Where is Eudora? Eudora. Oh, I can't see Eudora yet. She's probably having problems connecting. Let's see. Eudora, wherever you are.
Is our audio and video okay?
Say again. Your video, you look good on screen. Always look good on camera, you two. I don't know how you do it, no matter where you are in the world.
Well, we apologize because this is the camera of the laptop. That's the first
Still
one.
look good. Still look good.
And we don't have a proper lighting, so I would show around, but we are in a hotel. We're actually outside, and I think I got bitten by a mosquito. But
just been joined
because the light was a little bit better.
Ooh, where is she? We've just been joined by Eudora. Hey, Eudora, how are you? Glad you can join us. Just made it.
Well, I think she's still.
Your sound, got a sound problem there, Eudora. I'll tell you what we'll do is whilst she's looking at the sound, we'll crack on with the points for you. We'll focus on 1, 2, and 3, where the men and women are going wrong and what teachers and promoters can do different. So over to you. I know Joao is going to do most of the talking as he usually does.
No, actually, no, honestly, I was hearing what the three of them were saying before, and in a way they basically covered it a little bit up. And also a little bit on what you said. I think men in general are extremely good understanding things in the wrong way. They are not really smart in understanding that probably a lady is just being friendly. And wait 1 second, please, just so I don't have any sound. And in a way to understand when actually the lady is interested in them and when they are just being friendly to them, which is two different things.
Exactly.
And the other thing that I feel that men go wrong is that they don't, as usual as men, they don't know how to hold what should be put inside their pants.
We can hear you too, Eudora.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
Right. I'm gonna put you on mute. I'll put you on mute for now, okay?
Okay, that's good.
Carry on, Joao.
Yeah, I was saying I feel men, they don't know when they should hold things inside their pants. Men don't really think with this one. They usually think with the other one, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
And as you say, men get a lot of let's say understandings that have nothing to do with what is being really happening. And in the dance scene, I feel that it's, as was said before, it has nothing to do with the kizomba. It's urban kids, it's salsa, it's bachata. First of all, the biggest problem that I feel that exists either from men and also from women, because even though I feel that from the women's side there is less tendency than from men, which is the intention that they are going to for the festivals or for the parties or something like that. Nevertheless, I feel that this is the same as any other scene. If you go to a normal club, most guys go out not to just have fun and to dance. They go out with the intent of finding someone. This is if you go to a house club or if you go to an R&B club or whatever, men go with that intent. Almost all of them, yeah. Even if they go with friends and with female friends, they're always on the eye what they can get that night. And I believe the biggest difference between the dance scene and the normal scene, let's put it like this, is that the how easy it is to approach women. It's more opportunities. You know, the dancing scene, it's very easy to start conversation. And I say this even myself. One of the hardest things I had is like when I was younger, I didn't have that capacity to just start talking with a girl out of the blue, out of nothing, and for no reason, for no subject, and just start talking with a girl. And the dance scene, it's like a lubricant for that. You invite the person, you don't say much, the person accepts to dance, you have a nice time dancing, for example, and immediately you're talking after the dance. And you're changing phone contacts, you're changing Facebook, you're changing all of that. And one of the biggest problems is that men usually assume that if the lady is giving them contacts, they are into them. It's not like, okay, I had a nice dance with you, I would like to dance with you again, but nothing more than that. They start making their movies in their heads. And then it's also the thing about the festivals. There is indeed the part of the dancing, but from the men's side, there is always a certain interest behind as well. This is my feeling concerning men. I've been there, I'm not going to deny. What I feel that it's the men are doing wrong in the sense has not only to do with what you approached before in terms of the intelligence to understand the signals, but it has to do with their own education. I can misunderstand the signal, but was never in my way of behaving to force myself on the lady, to try to push something, to push those boundaries that I know I shouldn't push. I don't know what this sound was, if you heard something.
I can see the knife. I can see the knife at the back of your neck right now as you're talking.
Yeah, probably. Probably that.
Yeah, in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of Portugal, in the field. So actually, it can be anything behind this door.
Okay. Sorry, Karen.
Yeah, and I feel is basically that it's more of a matter of as well as education. You know, I was paying attention to what you were saying in the beginning about the things that you pass from the age of 3-4 years old. That has molded you in for sure not to probably experience in firsthand, but from another side to do the same.
Yeah.
Or in actually to, if you see something like that, to most of the times interact and avoid something like that from happening. I have done this hundreds of times.
Yeah.
When I see a guy in a dancing scene and he's not behaving with the girl, Giedre can tell you, I don't know the girl, I don't know the guy, but if it's a kizomba scene, I go there and I separate the guy from the girl.
Mm.
You know, I don't have the problems of doing that. Unless the guy is really, really big, I don't do that.
Yeah.
I confirm.
I'm going to give the word to Giedre. I think she has more interesting things also to say. But
Okay.
yeah, I don't think women are naive or not having any fault. I also believe, I really agree with what was said before. But I believe that a lot of things can be kept and controlled from the men's side as well. By the way, I'm just going to get a charger, so I make sure that we don't get lost connection, and I leave Giedre to talk.
Okay, good.
Well, maybe Mitch, you can direct me to the one of the topics that you would like me to talk about, because there are many of them to cover, and maybe there is a point on me talking about all of them.
Well, let's stick with the first two. Where are the men and the women going wrong? So they're two separate questions. Firstly, where the men going wrong, and then where the women going wrong. Or you could do what Iris done was in general. Where are the men and women? Where are we all going wrong?
Well, I have to say that
I don't have cable. Sorry.
I have to agree with several of the speakers from before. It's, in my opinion as well, is everything is about intention. And if your intention, like for example, in my case, is I love dance itself. When I go to the party, I don't look for anything. Doesn't matter. Now I'm married, or I had a boyfriend, I was in a relationship, or I was single. All these times when I went to dance, my main goal was to dance. I really love the dance. I like the music. I like the social aspect of it. But I never had a problem to find a boyfriend outside the dancing scene before I started dancing. So I never wanted actually to go to party to find a boyfriend or for any other reason after the party. So in my case, I don't know, it's really my opinion. Maybe it's not so important in this matter actually, because I never felt that I was sexually assaulted. I had some guys, I'm not going to deny, trying, but maybe because I'm very strong and I'm not interested into it, I think they backed up quite quickly from me. So it's a little bit hard from the person who never experienced something like this perspective to speak. I think if I had experience, maybe my opinion would be really different.
Yeah.
But at this point, I have a feeling that it's about the energy that you are sending out.
That's what I think it is, honestly, because you said something like that to me when we had our first talk show, because on the etiquette, that you never actually experienced some of the things that we talked about. And I personally think it's about respect. And if you don't have respect, then you experience this thing more. And how do you get respect? By putting out a certain type of energy. And a lot of women don't get the respect that they deserve or that they should get, because the energy that they're putting out can be perceived in a way that will encourage disrespect. And you're one of the people that people actually respect in a big way. So it's less likely that you will experience some of the things that we're talking about, in my opinion.
I think it's because I'm really scary, you know. When the guy's approaching me, I'm like...
A little bit of that as well. A little bit of that too.
Exactly. What exactly do you want from me? Is that about the dance? No, thank you. Bye. And I'm like, if we are trying something, I'm quickly informing, but I'm married, I'm not interested. Let's dance. If there is no dance in there, in between couple, I'm not interested. So for me, it's kind of easy, but I'm the person also who likes to laugh, who likes to flirt. But at the same time, I kind of, by the way I hold the partner, I already send the signal how close I want him to be next to me, because I can have somebody extremely close and I can show with this hold what I actually am looking for. I can have extremely close and I can show I want nothing with you.
Yeah.
So I think it's part of this is the signal that we are sending. Another part is intentions that people have behind going for the dance party, and being sometimes not very well educated and not respecting the other's intentions, because one for one thing, another for another thing, and then sometimes is the conflict in between interests, and one side doesn't understand that, and it's not going really well. So I really feel sorry for ladies that had to experience this. I'm sure that the guys are experiencing sometimes the same thing, but I think maybe ladies are not, well, some ladies are aggressive too in a sense, but maybe it's a little bit easier for a man to get away with this because men are stronger physically. I feel I don't need the physical strength in this matter, but everyone is afraid of it. Well, so that's my point of view on these two matters.
Giedre, Joao, thank you very much. The time, we're going to blow the time. I knew we'd blow it anyway. This is the time we're actually supposed to stop. Someone who's almost missed the slot as well was Wilson Soares, who joined us. Hello.
I wanted to say something more, actually, if you allow.
Yeah.
One of the things is you approach the fact of the teachers, what they can do. This is something that we have been doing since I can remember in our classes, is to teach men how to respect women. This, I believe this, in the European scene, it depends on our side to let people know what they can expect. And we inform either men how to behave, either women how to behave. Because we also teach the kind of signals that should not be sent, what signals can mean from some guys' approach when it comes to ladies. And I believe it's really important that teachers have this kind of approach of trying to bring a sense of what is dance and what is more than dance. Because when it goes over the dance, everybody should know. We are adults. We should understand what it's more than dance, and people should know then when it's okay to say no, when it's okay to stop a dance. That what being polite means. Being polite doesn't mean to wait for the dance to end. Being polite means to approach the person if you feel that someone is going over your line, your limit, is to approach the person in a polite way, not to do it or to stop it if the person wants to keep dancing with you. And another thing that I think it could be interesting, I was talking with one of our students this week because of all of this that happened. And in terms of events and in terms of promoters, could be interesting to actually create the kind of a Kizomba police in, let's put it like this, in terms of the festivals. When I say Kizomba police, is someone that is going around the rooms, trying to read the signals, not to interrupt by any chance or any matter, but trying to read the signals. And for women to know if there is something going on, they can, for example, raise their hand and in a way ask for help from someone that they know it's there to help them.
Maybe we need just to call me, because
or to call Giedre.
I show up, I don't need even to interrupt. Everyone will run away already.
Yes. We need more. Yeah, a few people like you. You know, like you have in an office of loads of people, you have a fire warden with all the day glow and stuff. You don't need that with Giedre. You just have her walk in the room like this.
Yeah, they will stop.
Right, guys, Giedre, Joao, you've taken too much time.
I'm
Thank you.
sorry.
But it's been great. I'm really, really grateful for you to join. Let's just hang in there for a minute while we have Eudora next. Eudora, where's your mute button? Can you hear us?
I can hear you, but I don't know whether you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Fantastic, nice and clear.
Okay. Okay, cool. So I will try to be brief because a lot of the previous speakers have covered a lot of things that I want to say, but obviously I want to sort of like, I got stuff to say. And before I go any further, I just want to say, Mitch, thank you so very much for you actually, putting on this discussion, because it's something that I think was desperately needed, because of what's been going on. Nobody's taken the initiative, and I applaud you and One Love Radio once again, for dealing and having the, the platform for us to discuss something that's, very important for us in the dance community.
Thank you.
Now, in terms of, I suppose, my qualification, thank you for inviting me. I've been an instructor for several years, and also specifically in terms of qualification, as most people know, and those who don't know, in the dance community, I'm actually by profession a lawyer, and in my profession, I've actually been used to advising and representing women in claims of sexual harassment and sexual misdemeanors, because what we're dealing with is actually a legal matter. And for those who actually don't know, let me remind you, sexual harassment covers a whole host of issues, from obviously, displays of unwanted material, etc. In the dance community, in the dance perspective, it can be described as inappropriate touching without your consent. Now, as an instructor, and anybody who has ever been to a class with me, anybody who's watching now will confirm that when I'm teaching, I always approach my class. Firstly, of course, it's fun. I always approach it from a perspective of a lawyer, in the sense that I always make a point of advising all the students, how to respect each other's bodies. Language is very important to begin with. So when I say to the guys, for instance, to invite, I always address them as gentlemen. I said, gentlemen, invite a lady to dance with you. So that indicates that they are going to invite someone to come into their space. Now, once she has made the point of actually accepting your invitation to come close and dance with you, that does not amount to permission for you to start groping her. Just because she looks really nice, you do not have the permission to start feeling her around, feeling her body and stuff, because that then will amount to sexual harassment. Also, equally, ladies need to know how to hold a man. So both men and women need to know how to hold each other without making your dance partner feel uncomfortable. Now, it's actually struck me as something that's really very important, which when I go around to different places and I watch a lot of people, in these congresses, teaching and stuff, there's a lack of explanation of how to actually hold your partner without actually invading the private space, whether it's men or women. These are the sort of things, I'm kind of like jumping ahead, the sort of things, that as instructors, I feel we have a responsibility to make sure that we explain to people what is appropriate and what is not appropriate, embrace where Kizomba is concerned. Because make no mistake about it, as instructors, we actually have a responsibility to ensure that people who come to us for lessons are looking to us for guidance, for what is appropriate, what is the correct way of doing things. And so we need to be vigilant. Being vigilant also requires us to make sure that we watch out for anything that does not look good. I've actually gone so far as removing people from my class, apart from making it very clear right from the offset that certain way of holding your partner is not appropriate. And if anybody crosses that line, if if I see anybody holding somebody inappropriately or behaving in a way that's not comfortable or is making the partner uncomfortable, I actually have a word with them. And the people in my class always know that they have the confidence to approach me to let me know if they feel uncomfortable about someone. And I've actually banned people from my class. So we need to have the authority. We need to feel comfortable to be able to do that. Now, generally, in terms of, the discussion that's going on, it actually doesn't surprise me, the revelations, although I think it's wrong, to name and shame someone. I'm only thinking from a legal perspective. Always, whatever I do, I'm always thinking in terms of a lawyer. However, that said, I actually applaud the individuals who are speaking out loud. But what does surprise me is the level of condemnation of the people who have had the courage to speak up. Because in my experience, people who actually have been subjected to sexual harassment and unwanted behavior, it takes an awful lot of courage for them to come forward. And one of the reasons why they don't come forward is a fear that people will never believe them. Usually because of the status of the people that they are complaining about, because they know that those individuals are probably, high-flying individuals. They're held in high esteem in the community, or whatever they're doing. They're highly respected. And it's probably one of the reasons why a lot of people are up in arms, those who have spoken strongly against them, because it's, individuals that they have respected, for years. But nobody has a label on them as to what sort of individuals they are. So, you need to be able to read. You need to have an open mind that anybody is capable of doing anything. Now, in respect of how men and women should behave in dancing, this is so important. Men need to be able to read women's body language. These are the sort of things that I actually talk about in my class, as I said. A lot of people do go to dance for a variety of reasons. Some people, go to meet someone, which is fine. But you need to be able to recognize, someone who, wants to go out and wants to, sleep with you or whatever. But there are individuals who go to dance just to be sociable, and it's not part of, the night out to get laid by someone. So if the object of your desire is not interested in you, you need to be able to, accept that's the fact of life. You do not pursue someone by continually, harassing them until essentially they give in, because that's what tends to happen with a lot of people who lack the confidence to be able to say no, even though in their body language they're trying to speak to you and say, I am not comfortable with what you are doing. They don't have the confidence to speak vocally about the displeasure, but the body language is a massive clue. So when a woman, for example, is pushing a man away and he's bringing her in closer and closer, that's actually, you are, bordering on sexual harassment.
Yeah.
So guys need to be really careful. I know a lot of guys, don't like to go to a woman who's free and available, because there are so many people who will throw themselves at guys when they go out dancing. But they're more interested in those ones who seem to be untouchable, because it's much more exciting. If she's not interested, guys, leave alone, because you are in danger of actually committing an offense. It is a crime.
Eudora,
Yeah.
I really need to push you on.
I know, lots of things. Okay, just finally,
Yeah.
one of the things that I think that we should be able to do to, for the future, some of the promotion materials that we see around, and a lot of people are practically naked on posters and stuff like that, it gives the wrong impression that, the atmosphere you should expect is that there's going to be a lot of sexual activity and that sort of stuff. That is actually quite offensive. And these sort of things, we need to, knock that in the head. Any promoter who's promoting with scantily clad individuals, it's wrong and giving the wrong impression to the dance community.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much, Eudora. Now, Wilson, aka DJ Santiano. Say hello. Let's see, check your voice. You're on mute at the moment. Can you unmute yourself? I'm trying to unmute you. Yes.
Hello, everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Now,
Okay.
Wilson, unfortunately, a lot of your time's been eaten up. So we're going to have to try and be really quickly.
I'll be quick. I'm very quick.
All right. No details on that, please.
As someone like in the scene and regarding the questions and the issue, when I think that men and women started to go wrong, I think is when Kizomba somehow became a sort of a business. As you know, the more people, the better. But at the same time, I wanted to touch the points that Joao and Eudora said. We don't have that much time if it's a festival to address who's in and why, the reasons they started to dance, because as she said, there's lots of reasons why people start to dance, because they came from a breakup, because they feel lonely, because somebody told them about the dance. Sometimes they come into the dance, they don't know much about it, and it's really important for us to address those, let's say, topics. But sometimes in classes, I've been told that I talk too much. Sometimes, like as someone that came, for instance, to the class and was new, saying that I talk too much. But because sometimes, as we said, and we always said that Kizomba is more than just a dance. For us, was we call it a family dance, because we grew up dancing not like the Europeans and out of, let's say, Angola know Kizomba. Basically, you started to dance with your family. You wouldn't go to a club to learn how to dance Kizomba. It was like very, let's say, we used to learn in an innate way, let's say, while we were growing up. Of course, in celebrations, family
Wedding,
gatherings, and that's what we do. Exactly, and then by the time I think we were not well prepared for the issues that will come with it once Kizomba started to be taught to people, and I believe those issues should be addressed in classes, as Eudora said. Lots of times we address those issues of the proximity of you being with someone, talking to the person in our parties, saying like, if you see something that is not strange, go to the person and say, okay, are you okay? Because you saw something that was not right during the dance, and you might feel that person is not comfortable by the way the dance was led, let's say. And we had to put people out as well in our defense, because they were not suitable to be where they were. Moving forward, I would say like Joao, I think Joao, Joao said like sort of a police in in our, let's say,
Kizomba police
events would be sort of. We need those people, like to spot, but not just one. It needs to be like really a good team. It needs to be a team, because even I remember we were like 8 or 10 sort of in Sal, and to spot everyone there, for instance, was doing something wrong. Sometimes it wouldn't be that easy.
How
Imagine a
about
festival
an
with
idea?
thousands of people. Say?
Let me just throw an idea out there. Just came to mind. What about, you know, you have the idea of taxi dancers. Some
Yeah.
festivals and events, you have a group of taxi dancers.
Yeah, I heard
10,
them.
20 of them maybe. What about if they also had another responsibility of reporting misconduct? Just, you know, just an idea. Oh no, I'm gonna wake up Jiao. Sorry, Wilson, just
Join
finish
in.
what you say, then I'll give Jiao 10 seconds and then we'll move on to the next group. All right.
Yeah.
So just finish off, Wilson.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I say like they could join in as a part of the police, let's say, but the more the better. I would say
Yeah,
like
yeah.
use the taxi dancers as well as someone that could probably look after people. And yeah, pretty much I think that we are here addressing a very serious issue. Everything is still like there's too much dust still. It might be too early to we found a solution, but it's good to share our ideas and of course
We have
take
to
some
put 'em-
notes moving forward. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Wilson. Jiao, you have 10 seconds.
You're welcome. I know
10
time is short.
All right. Basically, what I want to say is that my observation is that this is not an issue just with the teachers. It's actually with taxi dancers as well.
Yeah.
I think anyone that in an event is put in a position of privilege usually tends to take advantage of that privilege. And a lot of taxi dancers, they don't have, because when you're a teacher, you have a certain sense of responsibility, or you should have. So there is a certain level of awareness that we take in consideration in our behaviors. Not everybody, unfortunately, as we can see by what's happening now. But a lot of the taxi dancers, they do exactly the same thing, and especially because they are not yet so exposed. So they tend to break even more the rules because they feel that it sometimes doesn't going to hit them. I'm sorry, but
I suggested it because of this. And if they were given the responsibility to report it, then they'd think twice before they did it themselves. That's the reason. But anyway,
yeah, could work. But I'm not
it's
sure
hard
they
work.
would
But
do.
let's move on. Thank you, Jiao, Giedre, Eudora. I know you wanted to come on. Sorry, but Eudora, I'm going to speak to you after this show because I think we all need to do more on this as well. Wilson, thank you as well. I need to move on to the next speakers. Who do we have? Adriana Neves. Is she here? Adriana, where is she? Here she is. Hello, Adriana. Adriana Neves, Riquita. Hello, Riquita. And Angel.
Hi.
Angel, there you are. Hello, guys. How are you? How are you? Right. We're so behind time, it's ridiculous, but hey ho. We
I don't think you're going to be able to talk much here.
It was always going to happen. But if you could just try and be as to the point as possible. We'll start with Adriana since you're at the top of the screen. Adriana.
Wow. Can you hear me well?
Wow. Yes, I can hear you very well. Very well. Thanks.
Okay. So I couldn't address the subject and the previous speakers. I think everyone went straight to the point that I would say basically the same. I'm totally with Tanya, Iris, and Richard. It's not a matter only of Kizomba scene. It's a matter of the whole dancing scene suffer the same type of problems. So I think it's a matter of common sense. I'm not here to point fingers on what men did wrong or what women did wrong. It's a matter of common sense. Everybody should know how to behave, not only on the dancing scene, all over the world, wherever you go. You have to know how to treat others with respect if you expect to be treated with respect. As a teacher, my obligation is try to pass the best as I can all I got from the African community, and try to pass to my students to, when they come to an environment that is about other people's culture, to respect that and try to observe first their behavior, to try to behave in accordance. Not just come to a place where they think they can do whatever they want. No, you have to respect other people's culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
However, you also have to expect to be respected. So, and sometimes on the community, the respect is not the same back to us.
Mm.
One thing that I make sure I pass to my female students specifically is you don't have to dance with someone until the end of the song if you're feeling that this person is not respecting you.
Mm.
And some of them ask me, but wouldn't it be rude if I stop the dance halfway through? And I say, I'm sorry, if he's not respecting you, if you're giving him all signals, all warnings that you are not feeling comfortable, you're asking him to respect the dance and he's not respecting you, yes, feel free to leave him in the middle of the dance floor and stop the dance.
Absolutely.
I think it's more rude what he's doing to you.
Exactly. Exactly.
Then if you're saying that you don't want to dance like that, he's not respecting you, feel free to stop the dance halfway through.
Mm-hmm.
He's not being rude, he's being rude.
Mm. Yeah.
And,
it's also a warning. It's also a visible warning to other women in that room that this person is inappropriate. So you're actually helping the other women that are actually watching, because they don't like to be. A man will get embarrassed if you walk away from him mid dance, but if you've done that, it's a signal to everyone else in that room that something's not right with this person.
Exactly, and I have to say that sometimes I even at Kizomba Sundays on news, many times I have to ask my security to put some people out of the club because they are not behaving in accordance.
Mm.
I totally agree with the previous speakers when they mention a code of conduct. Yes, it should be, because people need to know that it's not because it's a social place that you are there to have fun, enjoy yourselves, that you cannot respect other people.
Mm.
So I have many occasions that I asked people to be put outside of the club because they wasn't behaving in accordance.
Yeah.
So I think as a promoter, is my obligation as well to keep an eye on the atmosphere of my event. So, and I don't want that people think that on this place they will find whatever they want. No, it's a place for entertainment. It's a place for you come enjoy yourselves, but also you need to know how to behave and to respect other people.
Yeah. Thank you.
So it is how I see.
Thank you, Adriana. Angel?
You're welcome.
Oh, we've just lost Riquita there. I hope she can join again. Angel, you're off mute now. Should be able to speak now.
Okay, all right. First of all, thanks for inviting me,
No
Mitch. I'm a person who's about, positive words. So I'd like to reframe the question rather than what are men doing wrong and what are women doing wrong. It's like, what can men do better? And what can women do better?
Yeah.
Right. I think that changes the whole kind of feeling of the question.
Yeah.
So for me, if we talk about what women can do better, my first thing is respect yourself, and respect yourself, right? So at the end of the day, no one has any right to do anything to you that you're not comfortable with. So, we have to, as women, be better and be confident and feel comfortable about calling out behavior that is wrong. So, as an organizer, I often find people will come to you and say, oh, watch out for that guy. So for example, some security have said, I've banned this guy from my event because he was inappropriate. Should I let him in? And I'm like, okay, no, we don't let him in, things like that. So, I think from a perspective of, calling out behaviors as women, if something is done and you're not comfortable about it, you must go to the organizer, you must tell someone, that this is happening, you know, so that they can be aware of it. Because oftentimes there's so many people in the party, you will not see what's going on. So, you know, we also rely on the women to tell us if something is not right. Okay, so that's what we can do better. Call it out immediately, because it's not appropriate. You know, I've been dancing with people and they'll kiss you on your neck, or, you know, they'll move their hands down to your bum and things like that, and you'd be, no, that's not right. You know, you need to tell them straight away, don't accept it. You know, I know sometimes it's uncomfortable to say something, but, you know, we always have the right to say no and walk away. Yeah, so that's something that we can do better. If we're not comfortable, we walk away. Yes. Okay. So in terms of what I think men can do better, men can do better by understanding what the boundaries are and should be. You know, I mean, we're all adults. We should really know by now what is appropriate, what's not appropriate. But, you know, let's give people the benefit of a doubt. You know, if that's something that they need to have more education on, you know, as teachers, as promoters, you know, there's probably a need for us to do something, whether it's a video that we all put together and we share and it's, you know, made available, whether it's statements that we put at the end of all of our events. You know, there's stuff that we can be doing to make sure that people are aware of what is inappropriate behavior. It cannot be swept under the carpet. It cannot be, oh, I didn't realize, oh, I didn't think, oh, blah, 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 blah. No, you know, we need to be very clear what is appropriate. You know, bringing it back to basics, you know, when I first started to do Kizomba, you know, it was very much about the family dance, you know, it was all that, you know, the culture, you know, there was this thing about, you know, who you invite, you know, you invite people that you know, there was a thing about where you hold the hand around the back of the head, you know, that means that's your man, you know, in the culture. So we've lost all those kind of cultural norms, because now you go to events and you see, you know, every woman holding the man by the head, and, you know, it's all very, you know, intimate. You know, you have to realize that, you know, sometimes if you enter into an intimate position, in a sense, sometimes it may even cause some unwanted attention. So I think as women, we need to be aware of, you know, sometimes there's things that we can do better, you know, to not maybe give a signal that may be misconstrued. And vice versa, the men also need to understand that, you know, there are boundaries that you cannot cross. And, you know, there is something called consent, and no does mean no. You know, no doesn't mean come back later and try again. No doesn't mean, okay, when I dance with her the next time around, maybe I'll soften her up. It means no. Okay, those are my things in terms of what we, you know, men and women can do better in a nutshell, because I know I'm trying to summarize things that haven't been said.
I know.
A lot of the stuff that's been said already.
Very valuable stuff, though. It's really, really valuable input, and to hear a lot of the things echoed in the same way from various different people, various different ways. The message seems to be quite consistent all the way through, though. And also, thank you for reframing the questions from what we can do, so from what we're doing wrong to what we should do better. I take that on board. I agree 100%. It's a much better way to frame the questions. So let's move across to Riquita.
Hi, can you
hear me? Hi there,
me?
Riquita. Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm sorry. I was on my phone, but the phone overheated.
Okay.
I had to come on the computer, so I wasn't sure if you could hear me.
All right.
All right. So from my point of view, being Palop, obviously I'm Angolan. I grew up with the dance. So when I see this dance, Kizomba, being referred as a sexual or sensual dance, that already is makes people believe that it's something that it's not, you know. So therefore, people come into this dance thinking, oh, it's a sexual dance. Oh, you know, I'm going to take advantage of it, you know. So, but it isn't. When you see videos of women, and I'm not saying it's wrong or right, but all you see is they're moving their bottoms. All you see is the bottoms of the women. I mean, this is not what this dance is about. Doesn't mean that they can't do it. I'm just saying, when people see that and think this is what Kizomba is about, then they're going to have a wrong idea of what it is. Having said that, like I said, growing up in the Kizomba, with the Kizomba family, I have never had anyone be inappropriate with me. I'm talking about in the Palop scene, in the Angolan scene. It's a social setting, so therefore people are always going to flirt, because flirting is normal in any social setting. But I was never, nobody ever was inappropriate with me.
Can I suggest?
When I come to, sorry?
Can I suggest something, Riquita?
Yeah.
You being Palop,
yeah,
you being a Palop woman, doesn't that give you a better way or a better understanding of how to deal with a Palop man?
Exactly. That's what I was going to. I know how to defend myself. Doesn't mean that they don't try. Of course they try. They always have they always try to flirt in your ears and you know. And
You know how to deal with them.
I know how to deal with it. But so it's very important as a teacher, because I'm a teacher. I've been doing this for many years. Important teachers to teach women and men the social etiquettes, how to conduct yourself on the dance floor. And it's something that I do all the time to the ladies. This is experiences that I have when I dance. I've had experiences that the men think, and let me tell you things from a Palop perspective. They don't do any of these things to Palop women, but to the foreigners, they will always try, because they assume that they don't know, so they're going to try. I'm not saying it's just Palop that do this; other people do that as well. But when they see me, they assume I'm a foreigner as well because of my complexion. So they start dancing with me. They hold me tight. They try to put their hands a little lower, and then immediately I say to them, "This is not right. I'm very uncomfortable. Don't touch me that way. I'm only here to dance. I'm not here for anything else." Not to say that if a woman wants something more, that she can't do it. But I'm just saying that if you're not interested, just make sure that you are vocal and you say to them, "I am not interested. I'm here to dance." If they continue, then be okay to leave them on the dance floor. I've left the men on the dance floor. I was left on the dance floor because I said no. And oh my God, good riddance. Do you know what I mean? But I feel that a lot of women, especially because there's usually more women than men, they feel like if they say no, they're not going to be asked to dance. And it's like, so what if you're not asked to dance? There's going to be people that are going to respect you, you know? If these people are not respecting you, why are you dancing with them in the first place? Why are you allowing yourself to be abused, you know, on the dance floor? It's just not right. So I think also, as a teacher, especially as a teacher, you have a responsibility to your students. Therefore, be it in a festival, be it in your regular classes. Same as doctors don't date their patients, and teachers don't date their students. What is so different from us? Why are we why are the teachers hitting on their students and trying to, you know, and taking advantage of their position? And I don't think they should be something that, especially in contracts, especially in festivals, the contracts should have, you know, no contact, no sexual contact with the students, because otherwise, what does that say about you? What does that say about the promoters as well, if it's allowed? On the other hand, I think also women should stop putting teachers and popular dancers on a pedestal, you know, because that inflates their egos. I'm not saying that it's going to inflate everyone's egos. I'm saying it does inflate egos, because I know men, they were like really, really nice men, but the fact that they dance well and they started having a lot of compliments, you know, their egos became so big, then that they start, you know, taking advantage of their position. I'm not saying, you know, it's a sexual advances. I'm not saying that, but, you know, it does happen. So as a teacher, know your place, you know, have your dignity. And like I said, promoters should make sure that they have contracts. And as a teacher, you know, you should stay in your place, stay in your lane, and you know, have a proper professional conduct with the students and everyone else, you know. But ladies, don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to say, you know, and I know, I get it. There's some women that also hit on the men. Again, consent. If a woman says no, it's a no. If a woman says no, but her body language says yes, it's still a no. You know, if there is no yes, there's no no, it's a no. When in doubt, ask. You know, but don't take advantage. Don't assume. You know, as you know, like they say, assuming makes an ass out of you and me. So
exactly.
Don't assume that we all are up for it. You know. I'm sorry. I also know, spoken to some men, that they think that a lot of the women are vulnerable, they're broken, they come into this dance, they come into Kizomba because, you know, they're lonely, they're broken, they're, you know, and that's not the case. People come because somebody told them about the dance, they love the dance, they love the music, but they think they're desperate. I've spoken to men that they think they're desperate. I've spoken to men that told me that some women told them that they dress provocatively just so they can have a dance. Because, you know, men just think there's so much out there, you know, that
We know it
so much choice.
Men know it happens.
Yeah, there is so much choice that, you know, a lot of women are going to be disregarded.
And the thing is,
You know?
they get rewarded for it as well, which is the reason why it happens.
And I mean, why? I also know women that dress. It doesn't mean that you can't dress any way you want. You can dress however you want, you know. But if you are going to dress provocatively just so you get a dance, again, it's not the right thing to do. You can still be you. You can dress however you want, be you, you know. And if they don't want to dance with you, it's their loss. But don't expect. Don't try to be something that you're not.
Yeah.
You know, just so you can get attention, you know. Yeah, but there's so many more things to talk about, but I know we haven't got the time.
Adriana has something more to say, and so does Angel. I'm going to give you both 20 seconds, okay? Only because we've got the next group waiting to come on, all right? So, Adriana, very quickly.
Okay, very quick, just taking the hook what Riquita said. As a teachers, people follow what you do. I think as a teacher, we have the responsibility to give a good example, right? And if you're a good example, people will follow you and will admire you and try to be more or less the same, follow the same behavior as yours on the dance floor. And another thing I would like to say that I know that some people are vulnerable and they are afraid to report and to say something. Don't be afraid to come to your teacher and open your heart and ask for help.
Yeah.
If you need some support, come to people who you feel comfortable with and come to your teacher and share your problem, and we will do our best to try to help. This is part of our responsibilities as well, to support you. This is a social environment. We are here to provide entertainment and to make you feel good, but also if you're having a problem, don't be afraid, come to us.
Thank you, Adriana. Angel.
Okay, so one of your last questions is what is the vision for the future? So I've skipped the other one because obviously about what teachers can do better, because I think Riquita and Adriana has covered that. So my point is that I feel that, you know, Kizomba is very much a male-dominated industry. You know, there are females in the industry, but I think the people that have the opportunity to make a change are the men. So it would be nice to see more men standing together against, you know, what's happening in the community today, and calling out. So I spoke to one of my friends today when I said I was coming onto this show, and she made a really good point about be a better bystander. So, you know, there's a lot of people that see things that are wrong. So be it their friends or be it, you know, acquaintances that they know, you know, being a better bystander means calling things out, you know, when it's wrong. So either you approach the person, you approach someone else, you know, we need to make it okay to be a better bystander, in my opinion. And I think that would stamp out a lot more of this stuff that's going on behind closed doors, you know, in WhatsApp groups, whatever. You know, we need to start calling these things out so that hopefully we can eradicate it. So that would be my vision for the future, for every one of us to become a better bystander.
Brilliant. Okay. And I think that's even one better than asking or expecting taxi dancers to be involved. Why don't we all take up the responsibility, share the responsibility between everyone who cares about the culture and enjoys the culture. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Angel, Adriana, and Riquita. I'll say goodbye to you for now. If you can, though, stand by until the end when we say farewell. It'd be nice to bring you all on the screen again. But the next set of talkers I want to bring on is Shaq, Saeed, and Robert and Jean White. How are you doing, guys?
I'm good.
Good,
Very
good.
guys.
Oh, we had Super Dixon just missed his slot. Super Dixon. Let me see. We squeeze him on the screen here, Super Dixon. There you go. There you go, my brother. How you doing? We're in. We'll give you some space. Okay, guys, you know, we annihilated with the timing on this. So we're gonna have to just keep it nice and concise, to the point, short and sweet. As short and sweet as possible. Starting with you at the top there, Shaq.
Yeah, man. I got some few answers. I think why are men going wrong in the zombie scene? I think a lot of men have a lack of understanding of what actually sexual assault is. Like, for instance, according to Metropolitan Police, sexual assault can come in various ways. It can be emotional, it can be physical, and it can basically violate people in different ways. And a lot of guys just think that basically it needs to be just a physical thing. It can also be an emotional thing as well. And a lot of guys don't understand this. So maybe whispering to women's ears inappropriate things, it's not acceptable, you know, and it should be kept away from the dancing. I would say when you're dancing with somebody, especially when you're a stranger, if you want to talk to somebody outside of the dance, that's fine. And I think as long as guys can kind of identify that and not like use the dance as an opportunity to get with a girl, and I think that's more of a safer approach to doing it. You know, we've got breaks, we've got bars where you get to know people better. I just think that, you know, once you're dancing with somebody, you know, you should have appropriate conversations rather than, you know, trying to lead things on. That's one of the things I feel. Moving on to another one, where women are going wrong. I think sometimes, I think first and foremost, I'd like to say congratulate the ladies that actually stepped up and said something, because it takes great courage. But I think a lot of these things need to be tackled a lot quicker, because the longer they leave it, that's where a lot of women get it wrong. The longer they leave it, the longer things can be twisted, and people start thinking, why did you say this a long time ago? Why didn't this, you know, there's a lot of issues behind the allegations. I appreciate that, you know, it can be very difficult at times, you know, and it can be very difficult for women to actually come clean on first sight. When situations, are people going to believe them? Are they just making up rumors? Is it a personal attack? Is it a witch hunt? You know, there's all these questions that women face, and but they should approach it head on as soon as it happens. And I think women need to take more specific role in actually not laying themselves down, or I wouldn't say lay themselves, that's not the right word. Actually, you know, sort of giving the wrong sort of signals. Like one of the ladies was saying is maybe putting your hand on somebody's head or behind the neck is not an appropriate way of dancing kizomba, because it's not kizomba. If you're meeting a complete stranger and you're doing that, it might send the wrong signal. Moving on to the next question. What can teachers do differently? I think teachers need to obviously educate their students that they're vulnerable. When you're dancing with somebody, you're vulnerable to sexual assault, because you're trusting somebody when it comes to being so close. There are different interpretations. People might find it as a way of bonding. People might find it as a way of, sort of getting close to people. For whatever reasons, they need to also understand that teachers need to emphasize that we, as dancers, not just males, females, are at risk of sexual assault. And this is one of the things that I think needs to be more common when teaching on beginners, particularly. I also think that people need to be called out more often. So everybody has a responsibility to call people out and actually say, you don't have to be aggressive. You don't have to be forceful. You just need to have a word and say, mate, you're going a bit too far there, mate. You know what I mean? Like, be respectful. I've been in a couple of events where a woman I absolutely loved it. It was amazing. She actually came over and was like, you know what? I feel disrespected. This guy is doing, and we had a word with the guy, mate. You can't be here. You have to leave because it's inappropriate. What the behavior you're doing, you know, we don't indulge in these things because if I'm a beginner and I've never danced kizomba before and I'm seeing these kind of things happening, you know, it becomes a false, how do I put it? A false perception that is preceding kizomba. Like it's okay to go and dance, you know, and what people go and dance with somebody, a stranger, and just, you know, put your hands in inappropriate areas. And I also think that sometimes some ladies might feel shy in not trying to respond appropriately. I think ladies need to take a bit more control as well, from a female's perspective. I will now move on to what the vision holds for Kizomba. I would like to see all of us all coming together and actually creating a body that actually can hold people accountable on multiple levels. It doesn't matter what level you're at, what level you're teaching, whether you're a beginner. There should be a panel. I think there also needs to be a bit more information about respect individuals in congresses. Maybe something as saying respect your lady on a wall or something like that, promoting, dance rather than sexuality. I think that will be important for this issue, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much, Shaq. Really good points there. Let me just bring in Saeed. Where are you, Saeed? Saeed, let's do a quick sound check for you. Can we hear you?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Can you say something?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, brilliant. So
yes, we can hear you.
I mean, Shaq's made some really good points, so I'm going to actually just keep it a bit shorter at the beginning, but I want to make some little points which are off point in terms of the questions you have. But let's start with where men can go, can be better. For me, the starting point is like at the beginning, as students are coming in, us teachers, we should be teaching men and women about consent. So I wouldn't say it's a men only thing. It's about understanding about consent, understanding about creating boundaries, and understanding what we are comfortable with ourselves, and making sure that you are free to say yes or no to dances according to what you feel comfortable with. Even though we're in a social scene, and this is social dances, kizomba, it comes from a culture where not every woman has to say yes to every dance. All right? I've been to palop parties and women will absolutely say no, without any shame. Okay, so, and that's a good thing personally. So part of the problem is we're learning a dance outside of the context of its culture. So first thing is consent, understanding about consent and being comfortable to say no. It's really nice to say yes, make people feel welcome. But if you're not comfortable, especially I think as a woman, and I'm particularly protective of the women because since 3 years ago when Me Too happened, I set like a process in place for how to deal with men behaving badly or complaints against men. Since then, we have made sure that there are women at as many touch points as possible available for people, men and women available, as many touch points as possible if something untoward happened. And we found there have been no complaints against women in the last 3 years in my events. All complaints have been of men behaving sexually inappropriate, coercive, or touching physically inappropriately. So that's why my personal focus has been on men. And so a lot of men might feel a little bit on the back foot about this, and I totally understand, but we should educate each other on actually how to go about, if you want to interact with women, how to actually go about that. And I think that's part of the problem. So consent is the first thing. Men need to take ongoing consent. Women also need to do the same. It's not a one-way street, but we should always check and see if our partner's comfortable at each stage of the dance. Moving to the next point, where can women go better? I think the thing that I said earlier about taking the dance outside of the outside the context of the culture is an important factor here again. So the women who are not from that Afro-Portuguese culture or Palop culture, they could do with taking Palop women as role models. Instead, we have non-Palop women as role models. Women who, you know, they're trying to do their best in teaching a dance, but they're not necessarily understanding the culture where it comes from. And taking the perspective of a Palop woman would enable them to have a lot more tools to protect themselves against what they might consider, oh, this is Kizomba, I'm not comfortable, but this is supposedly how it is. They'll know better than that in that situation. So we've got a scenario in the scene as a whole that Palop women are totally underrepresented. I can name pretty much like 5: Josie, Riquita, Josie, Eliza, Yolanda, Vanessa. Can you tell me more? There are more, but you know, they're not seen as much as they should be, in my point of view.
Yeah.
So I don't like to victim blame, etc. That's why I'm not saying where are women going wrong. It's we need more role models from Palop origin who can teach the culture correctly. And that's going to make a big effect on to arming women to protect themselves against untoward behavior from men, and also the other way around in some context as well. So moving on from the last one, to the next one, what can us promoters? I'm a promoter and a teacher and a DJ, and I think at each stage there is a responsibility that we have. As a teacher, you need to be teaching about consent. If a woman says no to a dance, she's not beholden to be nice. You know, there's a pressure on women to be nice, a certain way, to be demure, and this is part of the issue. Like, a woman's job is to be there for her. She came for her own purposes, and it is to fulfill her own purposes, not to please another person. And if she doesn't feel comfortable, she should be absolutely able to say no. And the men should be taught not to take it personally, should be empathetic and understanding that the lady is not comfortable, and it can work the other way around. Women need to also be empathetic, but it just happens to be that I've not seen that much evidence of men being in a really awkward position as much as I have seen women. Men really are able to walk away without men are able to walk away without women chasing them down. I've seen physically men running after women who said no. So I've not seen that the other way around, you see. So what can we do as teachers to teach that consent idea, that if a woman or a man says no, let them come back to you. Yeah, if it was a no because of circumstances, because they needed to go toilet, whatever else, let them come back to you. If they do say no to a dance, my feet are hurting, I need to go to the toilet, I need to touch my makeup up, I need a rest, and then they dance with someone else, guess what? They don't owe you anything in that circumstance either, and you should just accept it with good grace as a man. Next point, as a promoter, we need to have a set of rules in place in terms of expected conduct, and we need to promote the expected conduct throughout the venue. And I think Angel touched on it, and I thought that was a really great point. We need to promote what is expected in terms of behavior from both parties. Respect for one another, respect for the people who are helping to put on the event, respect for all the staff involved. It's just respect all round, and not to cross the boundaries. When someone says no, do not cross that line. Once is really enough. As a DJ, I think we've also got a responsibility. I'm seeing a lot of Kizomba events with not a lot of Kizomba. Tarashinha, Gerozouk. This kind of music lends itself obviously to the dance, which is much slower. And the slower dance is not actually a social dance. Yes, you can dance with your friends and people that you know, and you can dance with anyone. At the end of the day, it's your choice. However, in the context of the culture, from what I've heard from all of the Palop people around me, is that it's more often it's a partner dance, as in a couple dance. You dance with someone that you feel really comfortable with, that you really trust, or that you have some interest in that way. So if we're playing 70% tarashinha, it creates an environment of more of sexuality than of being social. So we need to address also what is the music policy and how is that having an effect.
Yeah.
So moving on from that, I think we've covered all three elements of teachers, promoters, DJs, and we all three have responsibilities.
Yeah.
I'm not going to actually answer the last one, but I am in a roundabout way.
Well, you haven't got much time, so.
This is a really important point, and I actually need to make it.
Yeah.
Slut shaming. Okay, this is a bit awkward for us to talk about, I think, because it's all of this whole thing is things we wish we didn't have to talk about, but we do. Slut shaming is one of the reasons why no can be sometimes grey, and yes is obviously yes, but a no, yes, and then coercion is promoted as a result of slut shaming. So a woman, if she says yes because she wants to say yes, she could be slut shamed for that. Men, on the other hand, if they say yes, they want to chase after something like sexual, and they're absolutely encouraged to do so. So women, by being treated differently than men in that situation, they end up saying no when they mean yes, and then it creates a grey area for some men, right? And that justifies their action. For me, it is no means no, and you leave it at that. But unless you address the slut shaming part, and it's not only men who slut shame, women are also slut shaming. We need to let women determine themselves. We are not in a position to tell them what is appropriate behavior for themselves. If they want to have sex with 100 men, none of my business, and it's not for me to tell them whether that's appropriate for them or not. My job, or everyone else's job, should be to watch out for making sure that we are keeping each other safe and just checking in on each other. Are you okay? Do you need anything? That's something that you can do during your time when you're like at an event, as a woman to a woman, that you can just say, hey, are you okay? I do this thing where I do a round, and if I see something which is looking a bit funny, I just say, hey, how's everything? Is everyone treating you fine? Do you need any assistance? Would you like to speak to somebody? And we make sure in our events we always have women at each touch point, and also at each decision making in terms of policy making of how we deal with things. Our woman is involved at every stage. That's what I have to say.
Thank you very much, Saeed.
Thank you.
Appreciated. Then we're going to go for Robert, and then finally, since you just made it, Super Dixon, you can bring up the rear and come on as last but not least. All right. Robert, your mute is off, and as you know, we're under pressure from time. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, you're sounding very bassy. You're sounding very bassy. Have you intentionally got the bass up?
No,
yeah, you're very white voice. No, we can hear you. We're fine.
Okay. A lot of things have been covered already. I just want to try and probably cover what we've done over the years. One second. Over the years, put it this way, we've been doing salsa for Mambo City for 21 years. Prior to that, we've been dancing 7 years prior to that. What we have there is a clash of social and cultural. I learned to dance in a cultural setting, a Colombian scene. And in the Colombian scene where we danced, you very much had a situation where you were immersed in the Colombian culture of the dance. Women approach men in a certain way. In fact, women never really approach men. Men approach women. But if someone wanted to dance with, say, my partner, Jean, they would come and ask me. And then I would say yes, and then they would go and ask Jean. But men would never approach women just like that and dance with. So we understood how it worked in that environment. When we started to learn, a social scene developed. And when you have a social scene, you have to think of it very differently, because in there, everyone's learning to dance. Everybody approaches each other. Ladies approach men, men approach women. It's fine because we're all there for the dance. Think of this as British culture when you go out to a nightclub. When you go out to a nightclub in British culture, everyone dances, but you dance with your friends that are there. If a stranger comes up and approaches a girl, it's because he's interested in the girl. But girls generally would say no unless they're interested in the guy. And that's the sort of thing you would happen at a British club. Now, take that social dance scene, go into a Colombian club. They can't freely go and ask women to dance. It would be a problem. They can't freely do that. After our social scene developed and developed, what happened, our social scene started to take place outside of the Colombian scene, outside of the culture. So what we had was a social dance scene, which everyone goes out to salsa and they dance with each other. Women ask men, men ask women. We've had that journey of teachers that used to hit on their students. And you always have that where students sort of fall for their teachers because, put it this way, you even see on Strictly where people go and they have a dance partner on Strictly to come dancing. The next thing you know, they've left their partner because there's this thing about dance that people just get drawn to and they seem to love and they want to dance. And because they want to dance so much, they fall in love with the dance and they sacrifice many things for that dance. And that's what's been happening in, say, something like Strictly. So when you take this further and you put it on the dance floor, for salsa, we traveled that journey for many years. Kizomba is very young. Kizomba started 10, 12 years. The instructors have had to grow up quick in that. The dancers that have come into it, they've come to say social scenes. Like, for instance, salsa clubs started running salsa dance classes, a lot of them. And what would happen, the students will come and learn, and we would have palaps teaching it, because when we were doing our classes, we had palaps teaching for us. Yeah, we've had Tanya teaching for us. We've had Eddie Vents teaching for us. But what happens is that the students, as soon as they start to get the basics and learn, they want to go and dance in a palette club. When they get to a palette club, the rules of engagement are completely different. It's not a social environment, it's a cultural environment.
Yeah.
And in that cultural environment, women approaching men to dance, and the men probably think, well, this is my lucky day, because they don't get women approaching them to dance in that way.
Absolutely.
And with that, what starts to happen is that wrong messages can be sent. Yeah? I'm not saying that they should act on them, they shouldn't act on them, but the wrong messages and confusion. Now you've got confusion that happens between men and women here. And what happens is that in that environment, it is, put it this way, it's a ripe environment for predators. Yeah. And you have people there that they'll be predators and they will take advantage of that. So you have women that want to go out and dance and guys that want to go out and look for women. And that's what happens in some of those palette clubs. And the women can get taken advantage of in that way. And I'm sorry to say this thing, it does happen. And what's happened, there needs to be more education from the people teaching Kizomba to get them to understand what it's like in the palette clubs and what's acceptable behavior from women and men.
Yeah.
The things that you're discussing about how men should behave and women should behave, these are things generally that everyone should know. Everybody should know how to behave with a woman. Everyone should know how to behave with a man. Yeah. But the thing is, when it comes to dance, things tends to change. Yeah. These things tend to change a bit. And from my experience in it, we try and be very protective when it comes to this and set the right kind of boundaries. Some of the things we've seen taking place in festivals over the last few years is things like the behavior of people wanting to turn off the lights in the rooms. This is something as a promoter we have to fight against.
Yeah.
And it's not just men, we have women as well that want to do it. And it's something that we try to fight against, but this happens.
I've seen that in Portugal. On a Thursday night in Portugal, they have a session where for 15 minutes every hour or every half an hour is a blackout. And it's promoted like that.
Right. Well, these things shouldn't be encouraged. I'm sorry. It shouldn't be encouraged, because what we're trying to do is create a social dance out of a dance that is a cultural dance. And the thing is with Kizomba, it is a more intimate dance than something like salsa. Now, I can count on one hand the amount of incidents we've had in salsa over 21 years of me being a promoter.
Mm.
But the thing is, salsa is not as intimate as kizomba. In kizomba, it's a very close dance. And the guys will try it on. Yeah. And the women need to be taught how to say no, how to say, I do not want this. And the men need to be able to accept that. You know, you don't have to accept every dance.
Yeah.
But look, I've been in a situation where I've danced with someone, and after 2 music, I've wanted to go, and I've been told I can't go. You know, and I'm a guy, and I'm saying, look, it's 2 dance. No, it's got to be. So it's difficult. It does become difficult. Now, I could look at it and say I'm being sexually abused in this way, right? But the truth is, people want to dance. People enjoy the dance, and we need to be able to let people understand, if someone wants to have one dance with you to 1 track, it should be fine. They want to dance 2 tracks, and this is what happens when you start mixing. When you start mixing, when you mix music, people can stay there and dance for a good hour. Yeah. You could have 1 couple dancing for an hour. So these things you need to. As a promoter, we do try and explain to people these things. Another thing, posture, bad posture. When I started working with teachers, and Tanya can actually confirm this because me and her had a discussion about this when she was working on one of our events in Portugal. And you have some ladies that have bad posture. And this is something that needs to be corrected, but not everybody points that out. And as a teacher, these things all need to be corrected so that people don't send the wrong messages when they go on the dance floor.
Yeah. Okay, Robert. I think that's all we're gonna have time for. We have time for one more speaker.
I think Saeed wants to say something.
Saeed, you got 10 seconds, Saeed. Okay.
Okay, I only need 10 seconds. I want to just highlight another point regarding slut shaming. Why it's so important. If you slut shame, it will stop victims or survivors of sexual assaults from feeling comfortable to come forward. So we need to create an environment that they feel comfortable, that they're not going to be judged, and more of them will come forward. Men often ask, why don't they come forward? Why don't they report earlier? One of the reasons is slut shaming. I just wanted to make sure that we understand that point.
Thank you, Saeed. Mr. Dixon, Superman.
Hello, people. Nice to see you, Mitch. Unfortunately, in this type of situation, you know, I want to say thank you, obviously, first and foremost, for the invitation. And I want to say thank you to everyone who already spoke. I'm actually happy you put me in the end, so that because everybody already covered a lot of important things, a lot of.
We needed a palop at the end. We needed palop to come at the end.
Yeah. People don't know me. Yes, I was born in Mozambique, you know. So, and I grew up mostly in Portugal, where I grew up in a different kizomba environment. You know, this is important to explain that. Obviously, everyone already above me, Tanya, Riquita, and Iris, they spoke about this. There's different rules of engagement, you know, and I think these rules of engagement, it's really important, okay, for everyone, everyone to know about in the dance. You know what I mean? This is like dance etiquette, number 1, okay? That's number 1. Because a lot of people who think they know what kizomba is, or they just look what it is, and they're in a dance festival, you know, they just do salsa or they just do bachata, and they jump into the room, and then sometimes it's like they're not used to. And obviously that's not an excuse, because the first thing I wanted to say, and Syed said it already, it was the first thing I wanted to say, is people also need to know, men and women, no is no. You know, regarding what we are talking about, you know, about this issue. Men and women need to know no is no. And then no is no can go from many things. You know what I mean? Again, since sensual consent, if it may. Jesus Christ. Even that is like, as a teachers, you know, we have to make sure that our dance students, male and female, they know how to defend themselves whilst dancing Rashinha, which is things that I keep saying when people, I teach this in festivals, and people, oh, I never heard this before. I never learned how to defend myself in Tarashinya. I was like, I say, well, I did my part, and I think this is really important because people keep. Because I grew up in Portugal, and we don't listen just to Kizomba, in being Semba, Oladeira. You know, we listen to Ghetto Zouk. In fact, obviously, we listen to Ghetto Zouk too. We listen to Tarashinya. Doesn't mean that I'm going to grind all the time. You know, that's not the purpose. You know what I mean? I still think that it needs to be explained. It needs to be. People need to be aware of these things. You know what I mean? But most important, what they said above, it's like people need to feel that they're protected. And I'm not just meaning because everyone is always saying men. Men also need to know that they're protected, if it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, but obviously, we know the men get to be the problem most of the times. But Robert also said something really important. It's like, for me, it's really hard. I try to dance with everyone. But sometimes it's like, it's like that thing where the woman is groping me, and I'm like, wait a minute. You know what I mean? It's like, and I'm not saying I'm a victim. No way. But this is exactly what just joking in regard to the situation. Like, some women, they come too strong. We're talking about what men do wrong. Some women, women also need to get right. I'm not saying women also need to know where they're going. What is the intention that they're going to give to the man? You know what I mean? Because that also opens a trail for these guys to think that they can do this with any woman. You know what I mean? And I think it's the most important thing that people need to teach this in class, right? In class. And I do this to my students so that they make sure that when they go to any party, if anyone gets incorrect with them, any man is trying to be holding too tight, doing all this ropey stuff, I am the first one to tell them I have a back problem. Straight, for example. If the guy continue to be abused, I teach my students the African shoulder tap, which I think is really important because people need to know if the guy is doing wrong. Like Riquita said, you need to go. You need to ditch in the dance floor because that's what would happen in a palop situation.
Yeah.
Wilson said that also. Like I used to practice at home so I can shine in the dance floor. If you dance wrong with a palop lady, and a man goes dance with a palop lady, man, technically you have a minute to be correct. You have a minute or less. If you decide to be rude, she's gonna ditch you in the dance floor. For us, that is really for a man. For in my culture, it's like I don't want to be ditched in the dance floor. You know what I mean? I want to respect the lady and do what is correct, like I would respect my mom, my sister, my auntie, so on and so forth. So I think it's like I'm even impressed that we have to actually address these things.
Yep.
Common sense doesn't exist, and I think when people talk what we're gonna do for the future, I'm like, I can give an example. In my events, if I'm doing an event, imagine palop guys walk into the door, and I'm DJing as well. So I put a music, I'll go and greet them, and I'll go tell them, guys, welcome to my event. This is not like in Portugal or in Angola, in Mozambique or in Angola. This is not like, so you ask the ladies, they don't say no to dance. They don't say no to the dance. You know what I mean? So that means that it's like, they will say yes, enjoy the dance, but respect the lady.
I think you.
I don't even give a window for them to.
Something. You've just touched on something there where you've actually answered a question that I've had myself throughout all of this, because we've been talking about what the men can do better, what the women can do better. I didn't really have much hope on the question of what can men do better, because as we say, the men seem to be a lot less emotionally intelligent and able to understand when no means no. But also all the messages and the discussions we're having now and all the classes where these things are taught and where they're going to be taught even more because of this is not going to impact all of the men that have been coming to Kizomba over the years. They're not going to go to these classes, and they're not going to come on this live streaming session. They're going to turn up at Kizomba just like normal, yeah, and going to carry on doing the same thing. But what you've just described there is a scenario where you actually catch these people in the door, you greet them in a way that's respectful by somebody who's dressed in a respectful and comes across in a respectful and mannerable way, and you show them and explain the code of conduct in this particular place and what's expected, how we expect women to be treated, because this place is a special place. It's not some down and out gully place where you can just drag up a woman and dance with her how you like. That eyes will be on them. So in that way, I think it was one thing about teaching people, but as we also have to catch the palop as well. We have to teach the palop that the Western women in this
people
need
said
to be respected as
people
well.
said in the comments that what about people who don't do lessons?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Because they don't do lessons, we catch them at the door and we have a discussion with everybody, like a PR, almost like a PR type.
Yeah, welcome to my club, girls. Look, this is not like at home. Ask the ladies to dance. They won't say no. Be respectful. Be respect. You know what I mean? And don't. And then I say it sneakily. You know, you know what we like. I say it sneakily. She's into you, okay? Good. Do it outside. Like, take her outside, whatever.
They'll appreciate it much more. They'll appreciate much more.
I keep it PC straight up.
Yeah.
And I keep it PC when anyone else that is whatever. If anyone is doing anything inappropriate, I just want to say, I'm the first police.
Yes.
I'm the first police. Like, I'm in the dance floor. I'm like, I see some that in my event, I can be stupid. I mean, I'm funny and stupid at the same time. You guys, in the show, I'm trying to hold back in, not to say nothing stupid. But I'm the first one. I'm the first one to do that in my event because I want my women to, and my men, let's say, and my bros. I want people to feel safe.
Yeah.
And I want them to have fun. That's it, you know. But it's shameful. It's shameful that some people don't understand this.
I know.
And they cross the line.
But hopefully this whole discussion today has been at least one step in the direction of improvement. You know, at least if it's only one step, at least it's something. And I think what's important as well is that we bottle this, whatever we've achieved today, and maintain our position and take another step forward, no matter how small the steps may be. I just want to say as well, I'm going to bring everyone who's in the background, bring them back onto the main screen. So if you're back picking your nose, stop picking your nose now. Adriana Neves is she's camera's not working. But yeah, I think it's a good time to say, actually, before I say thank you, I was just going to say that I would like to try and capture as much of the information that you've shared with us today and try and push this forward and just progress things. Also, Richard is there.
Neves is she's
mute. Yes. All right. So Eudora, as you know, Eudora is a lawyer by trade, so she knows a lot about this. I think we need to take the legal approach to how we do things better in the future and how we can actually formulate any wording that needs to go around that. So I think we're going to have a group chat in the next couple of days and agree who wants to be involved with that and how that should look going forward. But it's been an hour, nearly 2.5 hours. So if people watching now, over 150 people still online. Thank you very much for watching. A massive thank you for everyone who's been involved in this particular show. There's still someone else trying to join there. You can't join. There's no space on here. But yeah, a massive thank you. This is all about respect at the end of the day. Unity, one love, and respect. And I think I wanted to finish this on a
well, a lot of people are dropping the comments there.
Yeah. Everyone who's been commenting, I'm gonna go through all the comments after this because it's so encouraging to see all this interaction happening. But yeah, I wanted to finish this show on a positive note. It's been a bit somber part the way through, and it's unfortunate that we can come together like this only for something so negative. But let's make something positive out of it, and let's have a much better environment to dance in when the lockdown is over. So everyone on the panel, we'll catch up in the group. And just for those who are not in the group, just for those people who are not in the group wondering what's going on, there is no name calling in the group. There is no judging going on in the group. We're just there being constructive, putting ideas together on how we can put this thing better, okay? So until we all meet again, I just want to say to everyone, stay safe, stay well, peace, and one love.
Together and feel alright. Hear the children crying. One love. Hear the children crying. One heart. Saying, give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Saying, let's get together and feel alright. Oh, 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 oh. Let them all pass all this dirty remarks. One love. There is one question I'd really love to ask. One heart. Is there a place for all hopeless sinners who has hurt all mankind? Just say their soul, believe. One love. What about a one heart? What about let's get together and feel alright? As it was in the beginning. One love. What shall it be in the end? One heart. Alright. Thanks to the Lord, and I will feel alright.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you once again. And have a good week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, which is just over half an hour. Have a good week. Stay safe and stay well.
Hey, mami, perdóname. I'm sorry. Desculpa, mano. Lambisangama, mano. Não sei como é que eu fui capaz.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.
Eu juro por tudo desse mundo. Se for mentira, Deus me faça surdo. Eu dei bandeira, eu fiz besteira, mas és a única que eu amo, a única que eu...
Cheers, Eudora. We'll catch up soon, yeah?
Sou a que secou ainda. Minha mulher não vai embora, minha alma chora. Aqui no peito está duro, está a doer, eu juro. Está difícil. Oh, meu amor, abre a porta, que fora está frio. Lágrima é rio, inspiração não veio, coração dói.
You are listening to One Love Radio.
One love.